Hey everyone, welcome to Waxing Pixels, a Battle Geek Plus podcast, your weekly audio show where we talk about games and other fun stuff. My name's Josh, and with me I have Heather.
Hi.
Ryan.
Hey.
And Frank.
May the force be with you and whatnot.
That is the least hardcore Jedi I've ever heard. That's like the lazy Jedi, the one that sits in the back of the class.
The Jedi dude.
Yes.
God damn it, Heather.
Sorry.
He's like, well, that's just your opinion, man.
He's like the Jedi that goes to cons that cosplays with the bathrobe rather than the Jedi hood because he was too lazy to get a costume.
Anyway,
There you go.
the show, what were we going to talk about today?
Oh, well, I guess we could talk about this one title that some people are excited about. It's a superhero title. You might know the guy. He's kind of obscure, though. Batman. He's getting his own Telltale series.
Never heard of him. Never.
He's just a myth.
Batman what?
Arco, what? I like that.
The
Okay,
Arkade.
real quick before we get into the Batman stuff, or whoever this guy is, I just wanted to bring up the fact that last week, we did talk about some things involving disclosure problems with YouTubers and WB, and the day after that information had come out, PewDiePie ended up putting up a video. I didn't watch the video, but pretty much read a synopsis, and it was basically like, hey guys, I didn't do anything wrong, I did disclose things, also I'm not an actual reviewer, I'm the Let's Player, so that's kind of different. News gets around really quick. We fell prey like everybody else. Maybe PewDiePie did wrong, maybe he didn't. I don't know. I don't pay attention to his stuff, so whatever. Also, because I don't pay attention to his stuff, it was pointed out to me in the comments that he actually does a lot more sketch comedy than he does Let's Plays these days, which I didn't know. So, you learn something new every day, right? Anyway.
All right, now that the correction is over with and you've all clicked away, let's talk about Batman.
Who?
Na.
So,
Batman.
So, Batman, as we already know, is getting his own Telltale game series, being released in episodes, and then we'll probably get like a full game at some point that comes out. Has anybody been following that at all?
I just saw the trailer.
Okay.
Not really.
Teaser.
Yeah, I just saw the trailer with you today.
Okay.
I knew they were working on one, but other than that, I know that I want it because Telltale games are amazing. So.
Right. Well, no. I'm gonna pull the trailer up for you guys because the trailer did drop today, and like you said, you play Telltale games, and I might actually get in on this one because it's actually something that I care about. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. It looked really good.
I can see that Bruce is less of a "my parents are dead" kind of attitude towards him.
Yeah. And I don't know. What about you? You're the one who plays Telltale games, so I want to.
Right. Well, granted, the only Telltale games that I had played was Wolf Among Us, and that was based off of the comics of fairy tales. I will say that whenever you first started watching the trailer, I had my headset on and I was in the middle of something else entirely, so I missed the first half of that trailer whenever you were originally watching it. So I didn't know what the story was, who was involved. I'm really stoked because of the aspect of, the crime boss, and, it's crime, it's not, ha ha ha, super villainy, I'm gonna make the city explode with poisonous gas and destroy half the world, blah, it's just dirty money, it's dirty politics, it's something that, to me, is very Batman. And one thing that I noticed while listening to it is I'm fairly certain the voice of Harvey Dent I think his name is Chris Parnell. I think he's the voice of Cyril Figgis.
Oh, right. Oh.
And Jerry Smith, is that the character's name from Rick and Morty?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
okay.
That's going to be funny to me because I'm going to hear Cyril the entire time. And it's just hearing him being an authoritative figure just seems weird. It's just
suppressing fire.
Yes, exactly. So yeah,
right.
And then of course Catwoman's in it, so that automatically gets a gold star for me.
Right.
So
the first episode drops in August, and it'll probably be 4 or 5 episodes, and
Yeah, they usually end up running about 4 or 5.
which I played the demo to the Back to the Future kind of choose your own
I
adventure
completely
series.
forgot that they did a Back to
And
the
I think
Future.
I
Yeah,
think I
I
might
played that too.
I might still have like the full version on PS3. I just never got around to playing it because I got a bunch of games, like a bunch of free
Right.
games at once.
Well,
and-
holy balls, I might
Yeah.
have to play that.
So yeah, it's on our PS3.
I mean, I've even seriously considered getting the Walking Dead Telltale games, even though I've not really cared about the show.
right.
The comic is great. The show, not so much.
Which is why I thought
to
you
a
would-
certain extent.
Which, because of The Walking Dead, that's why I thought you would play more Telltale games. You've played more than me still by playing A Wolf Among Us.
Right, exactly. Because I mean, granted, I wanted to play Wolf Among Us for a really long time, but I didn't want to just get an episode here, an episode there. So I waited until the entire thing had come out and was put onto one disc.
Right.
So
Okay.
What kind of game is this Batman game going to be? Is it going to be an action game, an adventure game?
well, it's a Telltale game. So basically, you make decisions. You
it's-
talk to people.
okay.
You make decisions, and then there will be action
All right,
sequences in them.
so it's Batman.
But it's basically just a narrative that you decide happens. And,
Okay,
and it's
so
a
like-
visual narrative.
Choose your own adventure book.
Oh yeah, so
Yes.
just like the Back to the Future game.
Yeah,
But with
exactly.
Batman,
Because
okay.
Telltale games are exactly like that, where you make decisions based on conversations, and that'll mold the story that
Okay, all right,
follows.
that sounds cool.
Yeah.
All right, so speaking of games that we've been kind of waiting on, there's one that me and Heather have been specifically waiting on that finally got a release date announced.
Yay!
Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Oh, I needs it. I needs it so bad. And Ryan's a filthy, dirty traitor for getting an entire new system for this one fucking game.
Well, I bought it for some other games too, but yeah.
Liar!
Yeah, I
Liar.
did buy the Xbox One, so I could get Rise of the Tomb Raider early, and I still haven't finished it yet. I want to play it on Twitch, but I haven't gotten the opportunity to do so for the past couple of months. But I will continue it though.
Oh, whatever. You bought into the exact thing that we were complaining about, that Microsoft put up a bunch of money
Oh, I
so they
wanted
could
it.
get
I hated you
get
so
it a
bad.
year ahead of time, and you haven't even finished it yet. I
Bitch.
probably would have finished it like 3 times already. I liked the first one so much.
Yeah, it's a great game of it. I just
Really, the biggest problem that we're going to have when this game comes out is the fighting over the PlayStation. That's,
Oh yeah.
you know.
wow.
That's gonna be like some like knockdown, drag out,
Paper, rock, scissors.
I mean, I guess.
knockdown, drag out, paper, rock, scissors.
So basically, if I get rock, you're getting a black eye. That's what's going to happen.
Well, if I get scissors, you're not gonna have any eyes.
I mean, I guess if you want to look at an eyeless wife for the rest of your life.
Nah, she
Oh, I-
blocks with paper.
This is turned into a Three Stooges kind of segment right here.
A little bit.
But yeah, so Rise of the Tomb Raider is coming out October 11th, and it's going to come with, from what I understand on the PS4, it's going to be like a special edition that comes with a bunch of DLC and everything. They have an endurance mode that's in the Xbox version. Endurance mode is in the Xbox version, right, Ryan?
Yes.
But there's going to be like an online co-op endurance mode.
Wait, so this is coming out October 11th?
Yeah,
Shit.
October 11th.
Yeah.
What?
Balls. Whitney's supposed to be having a baby.
Well, then I guess I can get you the PlayStation first.
I mean, I'm not going to fly home.
Thanks,
but,
Whitney.
Womp womp.
I mean, I'm not going to fly home, but I know, God knows I'm going to, like, be
Womp
Skyping or FaceTiming or being on the phone a lot.
womp.
Because
So,
I'll suddenly have another niece.
but as I was saying, like so this endurance mode, you might like the idea. Endurance mode, it'll be, the addition to it is that there will be like an online co-op aspect to it. But in general, what it is kind of a don't starve sort of scenario where you have to stay warm, you can't let yourself go hungry, and you're running around and you're going into tombs and you're collecting stuff that you can use as resources to continue surviving, but you also get attacked by predators and things like that, and you have to hunt and eat and do all this stuff and kind of see how long you can go before you die or before you get airlifted out of there. Like, you can just like give up.
That sounds awesome. Because, you know, one thing, I'm totally that person that when playing games like this where I'm like, well, it's been 4 days and she hasn't ate anything. How is she still alive? She has not slept at all. You know, so I'm totally that person that thinks about that kind of shit, but I understand why they don't have mechanics like that in most games, unless that's what the game is about.
Do you also think about how they never poop?
Yeah. I'm like, when is she gonna, like, oh, she's filling out a diary by a campfire while I save. Maybe she's saving No More Hero Styles.
That's what I was gonna say.
Ha!
Why are you stealing everything
Oh my
we're
God.
saying?
Fuck you guys, because I'm more awesome, that's why.
No, because you're just a dirty thief.
Whatever. Hey, whatever.
You care about video game
okay
characters eating and pooping.
I'm okay with being a dirty thief.
I'm
now,
Batman.
now I'm just, Garrett rule. What is that rule?
Garrett rules.
No. What's that rule? The internet. Rule.
What's
What is it? 63.
The one, the opposite sex one?
Yeah.
Where
No.
if there's a character of it, there's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
be one of the opposite
Yeah.
Oh, I
sex?
think that's
There's
rule
gonna be an
34.
opposite-
34.
34 is
No,
the
it's
porn.
porn.
Oh.
If anything that exists, there's porn of it. That's rule 34.
Right.
Rule
I'm so
63.
disappointed.
Rule
Ryan.
63 is the opposite
Oh,
gender. So
yeah.
basically, I'm Rule 63 Garrett. I'm okay with this. Like, whatever. Now I just need to lose an eye or something.
And also, it's gonna have VR support. So
Yeah.
You get to be Lara Croft.
That's stupid. VR's dumb.
I can imagine if... Okay, so are you talking like first person like VR
Yeah.
support?
Oh yeah, it's probably gonna have first person VR support.
I'd barf everywhere.
I could see a lot of teenage boys just putting on the VR and just looking down.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm.
Well,
gonna
I'm
do.
pretty sure that if you can look down, you might see your feet.
Well,
And,
that's-
and not because boobs are blocking the view, but well, think about it. You can go in first person in a lot of games, and you look down, and there's nothing. You don't have legs.
Well, that may be. Well, that's one of the things though about like just how the camera works in general. Like that, there's not as nearly as much freedom of movement of your head independently of where your body's going.
Well, what are these boys going to be doing? Like breaking their necks so they could maybe see some virtual boobies?
Well, yeah, that's why I said teenage boys. That's what they do.
Or girls?
Maybe. Yes.
There's
not
no maybe.
Yeah, but
Teenagers
teenagers
or adults who have nothing better to do with their time.
Well, I wasn't going to get into the people who should already have something better to do with their time. I was going to at least keep it in the topic of people we might expect to do that. So yeah, Tomb Raider, October 11th, VR support, DLC with it. We're finally getting it. Yay.
Oh my god, I'm so excited!
Fuck you, Ryan. You're a
Aw.
traitor.
Fuck you, Ryan. Yeah, I don't even know why I let you in my house still.
I'm leaving.
Goodbye. Leave, never come back.
But
There's no show.
You know what? Actually, you know what? I've got a punishment for you.
Okay.
I've got a punishment for you for doing that. You are going to get an arcade. Not an arcade
Oh, God.
not an arcade like,
This
like you
arcade.
go and there's like big game machines and you play, and not like Dave and Buster's, not like
Dave and Buster's, that's the name of the place. I was trying to think of the name of the place the other day when I was talking to a customer, and just, it didn't happen.
not like that. What you're going to get is an arcade with a K. Arcade.
The Arcade.
Yes, the arcade. Arcade. All right, explain to us the arcade.
So the Arcade, kind of based off Noah's Ark. So, do you guys remember the Wisdom Tree Bible games found in regular NES? We actually played them on our show, Bible
Yeah.
Adventures.
That was the worst thing in the world.
So, like Wisdom Tree, which is surprisingly still in business after all these years, they're doing a Kickstarter to release kind of a plug-and-play system with the Bible games on it.
And not just Bible Adventures. There was a bunch of different Wisdom Tree games. There was like 8 of them or something.
Yeah.
I watched part of the little
Wow,
video
that's a
for it.
bunch.
So, well, when you have like 3 or 4 games on each cart, like you.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
that I didn't know, so.
So.
Oh yeah, so could we check how much the Kickstarter is at right now?
Yeah.
Because
like,
it actually has quite a bit of money.
and-
I think at this point it's just a big fucking joke.
But the arcade is set at, as of our recording, there's a $16,500 goal, which they have $6,884, with 109 backers and 25 days to go. What you'll see here is the games and everything are actually on kind of a reproduction NES controller. All the ROMs and everything are inside the controller.
That's
and
actually
then-
really cool.
And then the wire that comes out of the top of the controller is actually what plugs into the TV so you can play these games. So that's, Wisdom Tree, after a long hiatus, as they put it.
Oh my
are
god, there's a
back.
game called Sunday Fun Day,
Yep.
I'm more interested in the spiritual warfare.
I'm not interested in Sunday Fun Day. Sunday Fun Day is fucking stupid, and I hate people who talk about Sunday Fun Days. Sunday Fun Day is Sunday Fuck You Day, because Sundays are the worst fucking days of the week that I have to deal with idiots who never go out and eat in their lives, and they're complete assholes, and they make you run for shit constantly, and they're cheap motherfuckers. Fucking Sundays are the worst.
She works at a restaurant as a server, just for context there. But yes,
Oh my God,
so
they're all douches.
the arcade Wisdom Tree Bible games. I can't believe there are some, like, do you think people are, like, actually investing in this because they want to play these games like that? Or you think, like, it's, like, an ironic investment? Like, this will just be a funny little novelty to have? You know, what do you think?
Ironic.
Yeah, it's definitely an ironic novelty. I don't think anybody really liked these games when they come out, but they were just kind of a gimmick.
Right? What do you think, Frank?
Well, I think it might be some religious people wanting to see some religious games come out.
I mean,
Yeah,
maybe, but I feel like...
bad religious games.
Terrible games.
Like
I didn't say they play it.
Okay,
I'm
fair
gonna let
enough.
my kids play it. After this, they're gonna convert to like another religion. It
You
was
should
so
play
bad.
this game because it's a good game because it's about the Bible, and you shouldn't play any other innovative, fascinating, fun games because fun is evil.
Fun is evil.
I hate this game.
Evil.
Like I can imagine, like, if that's the case, there's probably, like, some little kid out there that's going to be all like, Mom, Dad, I want a 3DS. And they're all like, 3DSs are Satan. Here, have this other Nintendo.
Don't play the Pokemons. Pokemons is for the devil.
So instead, play this one game where you throw a baby in the water.
Because religion.
I play that.
Yeah, well, we're probably gonna get reports of this game, converting people to devil worshippers.
I could...
Well, Satanism's a lot more fun anyway.
I didn't know you were any type of religion.
Well, I'm not. But out of all the religions, that seems like the most fun.
Now, something that someone brought up on Twitter about this was they're thinking Nintendo might sue Wisdom Tree because of the design of the controller and all that stuff.
Ooh.
Do you think... now, I haven't seen any reports or anything like that of that actually happening. It was just more like Kyle Gatto. He was the one who said it.
Yeah.
He was like, get ready to get sued or something like that. And I really didn't think
Where's
about
your
that.
God now?
I didn't really think about that because there's so many like clone consoles and stuff like that out nowadays, which apparently like there's like patents that expire that allow you to do that, but it's still kind of a legal gray area.
Yeah.
But something like this, so blatantly just a Nintendo controller, looks like one and everything, that's cut it awfully close compared to like something like, a Retro Duo or something like that.
Well, from what I understand, like this arcade right now is like a quote-unquote prototype. So like maybe they'll change the controller design, like if it gets fully funded. But right now they're just using like some kind of like NES clone controller as a prototype.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That makes a bit more sense. The idea that the ROMs were just packed right in, though, like into the controller, that's pretty neat,
Yeah.
actually. And I know we were going to talk about another Nintendo thing first, but I think this is a good time to move into the NES Mini, something that was announced last week. It's kind of already old news by this point, but I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it anyway. The NES Mini, who has not heard of it?
I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
Okay, so then everyone's heard of it. Who's not heard of it? Okay, nobody. All right,
Frank
so
doesn't know how to listen to instructions.
the NES Mini, which I'm sure all of you know already, is kind of a miniature, looks like an NES, has plug-in controllers you can get, and it's loaded with a bunch of games. It's got like 30 games attached to it or whatever, and it's going to go on sale later on this year for like $60. Comes with an HDMI cable and a classic controller. You get new controllers for like $10. What do you guys think of the entire concept?
Honestly, I mean, that's a cool idea and all, but I don't know. With Nintendo, I always kind of feel like Nintendo is the equivalent, like the video game equivalent of, like, Apple. Like, Apple Watches have come out. Oh my god, it's so innovative! You mean, like, all those other watches that were just like the Apple Watch a few years ago? Those didn't exist because they weren't done by Apple. Now it's like there are other similar things out there already, and everyone's losing their mind over it. It's like, this isn't new and innovative. It's just not.
Right? What do you think?
Yeah, okay. In all honesty, I think they're over a decade late because I know Sega already did this. Like with some like plug and play emulation boxes. Although I heard they weren't very good in quality. I mean, our friend Joe Tanuki Karibo, he bought like retro Sega systems. Like they come with 60 games. You can plug in actual cartridges, and like the sound was like really off. But from what I heard though, like Nintendo is actually making this one. They're not outsourcing it to another company that doesn't know the hardware. So I have a good feeling it's going to play and look good. Also, if you try to buy all the games on the virtual console individually, like they're $5 each, and this thing's about $60, you're getting the games for $2 each, which is actually a lot cheaper than the virtual console on the Wii U or the 3DS.
What do you think, Frank?
I don't think it's going to sell as well as everyone might hope.
Why is that?
Well, it's just by now everyone's probably got most of their games on virtual console, so.
Well, I do think it's going to sell pretty well because like retro collecting is still pretty huge. It's a lot more expensive than it's used to be, but now like everyone wants this like mini Nintendo.
Well, I don't think this is, except for the people who are like super hardcore Nintendo fans and they're going to buy this because this is Nintendo. I don't think retro collectors would be just too interested in this mini NES. Only because they'd rather have the actual hardware, the actual games, and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, and also like this thing doesn't play cartridges.
Right.
And that was the biggest complaint that I saw.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like the people who are most likely to actually get this are people who just want it sitting on their shelf. Just to be all like, look at how cool that is.
I think through the holiday season, at least, as this is around the time it's going to release, I think through the holiday season it's going to get kind of one of those like, this is not for the retro collector, not for the huge Nintendo fan that has, a 3DS or a Wii U or whatever and is buying stuff on virtual console, but maybe the person who does have, like, any one of our random friends who doesn't collect old games, but if they came over here, they'd be like, oh, you have Punch-Out? Cool, I want to play that. Like, I think that is probably the target demographic for this, is someone who just casually wants a bunch of Nintendo games to play.
Okay. I can also see this going in the direction of all of us, we're all adults now. We may not have children. I don't think these two are going to ever reproduce, but we may not have children.
Well, you mean like together? Like these? Like,
I mean not together,
like
just
Ryan
in
and
general.
Frank are never going to have a
Just in
child
general.
together.
Anyway, moving on.
Why don't you just crush our dreams, Heather?
Sorry.
Throw it in the bin.
What are you, British? Anyhow.
I am multidiversal.
Multidiverse. That's a word now. But, a lot of people that we know who are our age have children now. Flip and D have kids. I can definitely see this being one of those things where, as you said, holiday season comes up, parents buying this for their kids so they can play these games they grew up with their own children.
That's also true.
Yeah.
Now this, a lot of people are saying this is probably a stripped down Wii Mini, put in a new case, and that what it's probably running on is the same sort of emulation that you find maybe on a virtual console. So like these games are going to have save states and things like that as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty much like when I open up my 3DS and I turn on Ninja Gaiden or something like that, and I can just make save states wherever I want, so I can just keep practicing that one really bad jump over and over again or something.
Yeah.
Or like Double Dragon 2, you've got that one really bad jump with the disappearing platforms.
Oh god,
like,
that stage.
you can just kind of do that sort of thing, and you're going to get that same thing here. So I don't think so. While there will be playing with the kids and stuff, I don't think there'll be nearly the frustration there was of yesteryear, where it's you have 3 lives to get through this entire really, really hard game. Oh, you lost all your lives? No continues. Back to the start screen. Fuck you. So, welcome to the real world, motherfucker.
That's what I would say.
So,
also what's cool, like the controller will also work with Wiimotes.
oh right, yeah, because
I did not know that.
the controller port on the front of the NES Mini is the same sort of plug that you find on the bottom of a Wiimote. So like you'll be able to buy those $10 controllers and boop, and there you go.
That's cool.
So that'll be really nice. Speaking of Nintendo, though, moving into what we were originally going to talk about first, Nintendo and their innovative practices and whatnot. You were kind of went over this a little bit when we were talking about the NES Mini. There is Destructoid was talking about whether Nintendo should stop trying to be so innovative and maybe go a bit more mainstream. And I thought this would be a good time to go over that as well. Ryan, you were the one who found this. What are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts? Well, it's kind of obvious due to the lack of Wii U sales. They're not doing so well, and they're obviously going to try to bank on the NX, and we still know next to nothing about the NX.
It doesn't matter, because Zelda.
Right. Well,
so that's just printing money. That's what that is.
Well, here's the thing. And like Nintendo has some of the best first-party IPs out there, like Mario, Link, Metroid, Smash Brothers, all those games. So I mean, even if they went mainstream, I think they would still do well. But I think for the past couple of years, ever since like the DS, like the original DS, they've been trying pretty hard to innovate, but now they're losing to the smartphone market pretty badly.
I don't know, Frank, do you think Nintendo should try and continue being so innovative, or do you think they should try and be a bit more mainstream like Sony or Microsoft?
I think they should back down on the innovation, but they still should be innovative. Because I think the Nintendo Wii, I think that was just too far ahead of the time when it came out.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think everyone was ready for it.
Even
and
though
the motion controls were kind of meh as well. And then whenever they did implement them in games, it was meh.
Yeah.
Even though it sold so well, I understand it was the less expensive and more fun party console and something great for kids.
It also very much promoted family game time, because family game time has always been, I guess, an American pastime or some nonsense in the 40s and 50s or whatever TV show had us believe. Oh, weekly game night with Monopoly and Snakes and Ladders or Slides and Ladders or whatever the fuck that fucking board game was. And since family board games aren't really a thing anymore, so I feel like maybe that ended up capitalizing whenever the Nintendo Wii originally came out. It capitalized on family fun time, family game time, not going out and paying money to see a movie or going out to a restaurant or, going to the zoo and spending money, but having a system already there and being able to sit down and oh, well, we just had meatloaf. It was meatloaf night. Now it's time to play bowling with the kids.
So do you think it was largely the marketing, or
I feel like it was definitely the marketing.
But what about the actual controller itself and the motion control? Do you think that really sold it? Could they have done the same thing with a less expensive PlayStation 3? A less powerful, less expensive PlayStation 3, a family game night, everyone sit around and mash the buttons on the controller? Or
I feel like they could have done that, absolutely. Because, like I said, they might have really been all oh, motion controls, get up and do this and it'll follow you,
Yeah,
that wasn't, honestly, that wasn't really, that's not why we were interested into it, in it at all. We don't have kids, but, people who have kids who felt like video games were taking their kids away and they weren't able to connect with their kids, having so many games that were available that were meant solely for a group of people to play, they didn't have to have the motion controls. They could have not had them at all, and I feel like it still would have done just as well.
I think the motion controls did a lot for the initial sales of it just because of the group game and stuff like that. Because you remember when we got the Wii and we would have parties over at our apartment and everything like that, we put in something like WarioWare, and even people who just have they lived under a rock their entire lives and didn't know anything about video games. It's just kind of oh yeah, take this, swing it in this direction like it tells you to do on the screen. Maybe you'll win. And it'll just do this a bunch of times, and then once, your ADD takes you somewhere else or in a different conversation, you just hand the controller to another person.
Yeah.
And I think, I think that had a lot to do with it, where on the other hand, if I would have taken that same person and been all here, sit down and play Street Fighter with me. How's your footsies? They'd be what?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, mostly like the Wii's demographic was trying to hit non-gamers. Yeah, and they succeeded in a way, like because like the Wii sold like gangbusters for a couple of years until those people decided, well, I want to go back outside.
but so the innovation thing though,
Yeah.
I think Nintendo's always been innovating though, even when they were trying to be more mainstream.
Yeah.
You know, even when they had the NES and the Super NES and all that stuff, they always had ways to bring things into it should they want to, or try something new later. You know, they tried motion controls with that dumb Power Glove. You know, they tried 3D with certain games, you know, like Rad Racer and stuff like that. They've been doing this stuff all the time. The Super Nintendo had an expansion port on the bottom. I mean, so did pretty much every Nintendo console had at some point
And Sega.
some
Genesis.
kind of expansion port. Like, and they didn't really get taken advantage of here in the States, but, you know, there was the Famicom Disk System.
Yeah, I remember.
Which went off the expansion port. You know, you had, like, pretty much proprietary style 3.5-inch floppy disks that games could be played on. You could take it to a kiosk and burn a new game onto it. There was, for much cheaper than going out and buying a cartridge, there was, on the Super Famicom, the Japanese Super Nintendo, there was an attachment to that where you had like a modem, and they were going to like, the PlayStation was originally going to be an attachment that went onto the bottom.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know, the Super Nintendo. The Nintendo 64 had the disk drive. The GameCube had the Game Boy player on the bottom, but also on the back in the older GameCube units, they actually had a digital out before HDMI existed, so that if TVs did catch up during the GameCube's life cycle, they could actually have super crisp graphics through a component cable.
Yeah.
And to give you actual digital signal, which component isn't actually digital, but the digital signal would come out, and there have actually been mods for it now where you can take that port right there and you can turn it into HDMI, and you can get digital.
Holy crap.
You can get a digital signal, a pure lossless digital signal out of the GameCube now if you mod that port.
Oh my god, that was
So
beautiful.
it is. So I think they've always been innovating, even when they tried to be a little bit more mainstream. They went with with the GameCube, even with like the discs and like the more normal controller. You know, probably the most popular Nintendo controller outside of the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
They've always been innovating, and I think maybe in these past two generations, they've kind of put innovation ahead of everything else. And so I think Frank's right, actually. You know, now that I'm kind of like going over it, that maybe they should pull it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Make it something so that like anyone would want to pick it up and play it because it's just a game on a controller on a TV, but still have room to do new things with it.
Yeah, honestly, the idea of, they need to stop it trying to be innovative and just be mainstream. The idea of mainstream being what? Being nothing changes and everything's the same. Every year you spit out, a new system, basically, Madden year 2017, 83 or whatever. Being innovative is what drives progress. So they may have been trying to do all these things for all these years, and it's only gotten better. It may not be perfect yet, but innovation is how we've ended up with the ability of having a home VR system. It's getting closer. And the idea of they should just stop doing that, period, I think is just a completely, utterly laughable thing. Really, if you apply that logic to literally any other field, what's the point of progress? There will be no progress.
I think maybe in the case of like stop being so innovative, it might be something more along the lines of like, just like the PlayStation controller through all of its generations has roughly stayed the same. And when they tried to do something weird with it, like make it a boomerang shape, like everyone was like, no, don't do that. We like the one we have now. And they're like, okay, cool. We'll just make some adjustments to the one we have now. And, and now we're on the PlayStation 4. And aside from that touchpad thing that nobody uses, like it's still a really good, solid controller that can do all the things that controllers are supposed to do. And it's something, you've been going through all these, like you don't have to learn a new hand configuration every time or a new gimmick every time or something like that. And I think also going a bit more, at least mainstream friendly, not mainstream per se, but just mainstream friendly, would be easier for like third-party support for the console too, because that's one of the things that they did not drive Wii U sales, was the fact that there was just nothing for third-party support, because Nintendo wanted to make that pad the major thing that you had to use. Like, you didn't really have any like pro controller games, as far as I know, like ones where you could just only use that and it's cool.
Yeah, I remember Miyamoto saying, like, by the time the Wii was released, like, if the Wii, like, tried to be like, the PS3 and the Xbox 360, it would be like, like just having ferocious dinosaurs attacking each other.
Well, it might as well just be like a giant monster battle in that regards.
Well, I know Nintendo's going to be okay because of their first-party IPs, but if they want to stay relevant as a console publisher, like, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, but do they really care? Think about it. I mean, those games you're talking about, like, Mario and whatever, they could just keep spitting those out, and that's like printing money. And they could keep spitting out Zeldas, that's like printing money. So, even if there is a loss on their end in regards to, all this innovation that they're attempting to do, in the long run, it doesn't seem like it's really that big of a concern, because then they just have to turn around and spit out another Mario or whatever, and they just make back the money they lost.
Well, also, if they keep doing what they're doing in the mobile phone market, Pokemon Go,
right?
Yeah,
that's like, I'm surprised. Like, well, you're playing it, Ryan, or have you been playing it lately? Like, did you kind of
a little bit, not so much.
A little bit, not so much. Okay, yeah. So I think that fad's going to end at some point too.
Yeah.
But it's
I
not.
don't know. I had coworkers hatching eggs while we were working yesterday. So.
Right, but I'm not saying it's gonna end like tomorrow. But I'm saying at some point there's gonna need to be some big update or some new version, or people are just gonna be like, okay, Pokemon Go was a cool thing in 2016.
Well, I heard that not all Pokemon are on the Pokemon Go, so I'm pretty sure later on they'll update. 5 new Pokemon are out there. Go get him!
Oh, so like the new Pokemon from other generations of games.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be
like not even 150 are out, like 132 maybe.
I don't know. Aren't there like currently like almost 800?
Oh my god.
Oh gee. Yeah, I don't watch the show.
You would know, Frank. You would know closer to how many Pokemon there are than we would. You played some of the more recent ones.
Yeah, I think it's like in the 500s.
500?
I don't think it's the 800s.
Really? I don't know. I thought I saw a tweet today that was talking about how many. Maybe it's not that many. I don't know. I'm not that connected.
Do they keep all the previous generations of Pokemon like available to catch in the newer ones, or do they kind of retire some of them?
They kind of retire some of them. Like, you can't catch some legendary Pokemons in current games.
Okay, so
unless you have the Pokebank, then you could go back and try to.
Okay, so then really, if you count all the Pokemon games, there could be over like 2,000 Pokemon or something like that.
Maybe we were old and having Alzheimer's, been like, back in my day, I had a. Who wants to go ice fishing? Grandpa, we're in Florida. That's no excuse. There's fish and there's ice.
How many Pokemon were there when Pokemon first came out?
151. 151.
Yeah, there was like the 150 was the number, but then there was also Mew, and that was 151st, so that was super awesome secret Pokemon. Yeah. So, and then obviously there's Missing No. the error Pokemon, the glitch one.
Well, I don't know what the NX is gonna do.
Nobody knows what the NX is gonna do.
Nobody knows what the NX is gonna do, and I don't know what it should do. But Nintendo's got to catch up with like the current console generation.
I think even if they are a bit more mainstream friendly, if they kind of go with the approach they had with the Wii of being the second console in everyone's home, then they might actually do as well as they did during the Wii generation. Because that's what they did. Like, they're like, oh yeah, we know you're going to buy a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360 anyway, but we also want you to have this, which is why it's much less expensive and easily accessible and all this stuff. And it went, okay, cool, I'm going to get my PlayStation 3 and then I'm going to get a Wii. So it didn't matter whether you were Sony or Microsoft, you were going to get a Wii. And so that kind of contributed to the sales, and I think if they take that approach again,
right?
We just want to be the quaint little second console in your home, and then they unleash some crazy stuff like Breath of the Wild on it, then bam, they're kind of back in it in terms of home console market.
Right. Okay. So I wish Nintendo luck.
All right. Anyway, I think that's all we really have for today. So check us out on Battle Geek Plus, our Tuesday show where we play games. We also do this podcast. It comes out every Thursday with little bits that come out in the meantime daily. And Ryan, what other shows do we do?
Every 2 Sundays, you can check out Awesome Video Game Memories, and every 2 Sundays after that is probably like a random skit and maybe a battle blog once in a while.
All right. Sounds good. So yeah, but definitely Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Check us out on youtube.com/BGPAwesome, or you can just head straight to battlegeekplus.com. We're also on Channel Awesome if you want to check us out there. Same content. You'll just also get it alongside a bunch of other really cool content and reviews. Anyway, my name's Josh, and I was here with Heather.
Bye.
Ryan.
See ya.
And Frank.
May the force be with you, and whatnot.
We'll see you next week.